Hi, my name is Jeff Hewitt, General Manager here at Bryan Cullen Motors, and today we are looking at the very first 2025 Corvette ZR1 sold in Canada. Let's take a look. So if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, click on the link below to connect to one of our specialists, and they'll help you figure out what exactly you need, whether you need something right out of the showroom here, or if you want something special custom made just for you, they're the ones that can help you. So yes, this is the very first retail ZR1 sold in Canada. Now, if you've been sharp out there, you may have noticed a couple of early production ZR1s rolling around the Durham region, driven by some GM Canada executives. They've been out there, but this is the first retail piece that's gonna end up in a customer's hands. Now, I'm proud to say that this customer's been a long time customer, Bryan Cullen Motors, real enthusiast. He came in, sat down with one of our Corvette experts and curated this incredible supercar. And so we're just gonna run through a few of the things the selections that he made, along with some of our help, of course, and let you see what this car is all about. And of course, it all starts up front here, because this is definitely different than any other Corvette you've been looking at. Lots of carbon fiber, we got the splitters, we got the dive planes, but what you're gonna notice most of all is that the traditional frunk that we usually have up front here, it's been replaced by something special. Because this is a twin turbo and it's making 1,064 horsepower, we need to cool that air charge, and they're sucking a whole bunch of air in the front here. It flows through what used to be the frunk, and it's coming right out the top here. And this does a few things. Obviously, that charged air that we're jamming into the engine to make all this horsepower, the cooler you make it, the more dense it becomes, the more power you make. But General Motors engineers went beyond that, and they've actually made it so it creates downforce on the car. And that's a lot of what you're seeing up front here. It's all about downforce and performance. So notice the carbon fiber splitter, the carbon fiber dive planes, and even this carbon fiber deflector here. All these things are here to create downforce. Now, they're all part of the same aero kit that comes on the car. Obviously, you have to select it. We have a big wing out back, and we're gonna show you that in a minute. But this is what makes the car go fast. It plants it down in the corners, makes those tires grip so you can get in there and feel secure when you're driving at speed. So like I said, we're giving up our frunk space, right? But we still have the hood here. And so let me just lift it up here so you can see what's going on. So up front here, it is different. If you're a typical Corvette person, you're used to seeing this being the frunk. Well, down here you've got your charged air intercooler. This is for the turbos to get that charged air nice and cool going into the engine. You also see some additional ductwork coming out here, where that's actually the relief air for what's going on underneath to the brake cooling, and it's coming back up through the hood to allow it out. Once again, this has a lot to do with downforce and aerodynamics. Now, the one thing that you're probably seeing here or missing, if you know about Corvettes, is that there's usually a 12-volt plug for your ERI, that's your battery tender. It's not here. If you're getting a ZR1, you're gonna need a battery tender. You've actually got quick disconnect clips here in the front. You're gonna pull this off and you're gonna attach directly to the battery, because we know you're not driving this all winter, right? You're gonna have to keep the battery fresh, make sure you're taking care of things underneath there. But no front release button, just like the back. There's no release button that's typically underneath. You're gonna do it with the remote, or you're gonna do it with the buttons inside. The other thing, this being, well, a street legal race car, they felt no need to have the soft pull down like we have on the frunk on most Corvettes. So this one you actually have to close. So let's take a look around the side here and see some of these other selections that were made. Now, first of all, in case you hadn't noticed, it's Hysteria Purple. That is the color. It's fantastic on this car. I'm proud of this customer for making this selection. You know, I love torch red, great color. You know, white's a great color, black's a great color, but to come up with something different and take the Hysteria and done some really cool things that I like to make the car pop. He's chosen the black wheels to offset it. This here has the track package on it as well. So that means it gets the Michelin Cup 2 tires, really, really sticky. Don't forget, we've got the full carbon fiber package. So we're creating all that downforce to make these sticky tires grip. You'll notice we've left the calipers gray, obviously to match the interior. We'll take a look inside in a minute, but here's the little touches that I really like that he did, that he decided to add the carbon fiber mirror caps to catch the other carbon fiber accents that are standard on the car already. Moving towards the back here a little more, now we're seeing all this venting. And this is a ZR1. So we've got a few more things that are happening here. Now, the side scoops we're all used to on C8 Corvette. On either side, you've got the transmission cooler, and you've also got the engine oil cooler. So we got a lot of cooling happening back here, but we've got a couple more vents happening. This vent here, this is new. That's something we haven't seen on other trim levels. So what we have here is this is for rear brake cooling, and up top here we've got another vent that's drawing more cold air back into the engine compartment, and this is for actually helping the engine draw cooler air into the air box, jamming it through the turbochargers, up through the intercooler and back into the engine again. So a lot of plumbing going on, a lot of carbon fiber. I think the thing just looks amazing. Let's take a look at the back. First thing you're going to see in the back here is obviously this massive carbon fiber wing. This exposed carbon fiber package, first of all, the wing was hard to get early on in production. We managed to secure one for this customer. But I've had a lot of people ask me, Jeff, why is the wing so huge on this car? Now, I was just telling you about all that downforce we were creating up front, right, with the dive planes and the flow through for the intercooler, all of that airflow planting the front wheels. So now you got to plant the back wheels and keep the car balanced, because the whole idea about creating speed, especially entering the corner and security, this is all with downforce, and so you need to have a big wing to match all the big downforce we're making up front here. There's some couple of changes that you kind of have to get used to with ZR1 that you don't see on Z06 and you don't see on Stingray or E-Ray. So first of all, there's no button under here to open the rear deck lid. We have a couple of theories on this. I'd like an engineer to tell me why. As far as we can tell, it's probably because with this big massive wing on here, you can't reach in anyway. You're certainly not going to try to reach over and do that. So if you're going to open the rear deck lid, I suggest that actually the customer does it from the side, not reach over the wing. If you want to look into get into the storage compartment here, or if you want to look at this incredible power plant that we have inside. Of course, we got the 5.5 liter flat plane crank twin turbo, unbelievable horsepower at 1,064 engine. So here is 1,064 horsepower to the 5.5 liter, making 828 pound-feet of torque. Some interesting things, and once again, if you're an enthusiast, you're going to notice this. So on the decal here, it actually says the compression ratio is 9.8 to 1. And you're going to think, well, wait a minute, Z06 is like 12.5 to 1. Well, that's true. Now Z06 is making power and making great power at 670 horsepower, jamming that compression really, really tight to create power. In this case, we put a positive charged air fuel mixture into the cylinder to make power. They need some room, they need some space, so the compression ratios actually drop to allow the turbos to do their job. And that's the secret to making 1,064 horsepower. For fun, I actually did a little math. And this is where it gets interesting, because this car can also be about value. So if you're needing to explain to somebody why you chose to spend this kind of money, and this car is about $270,000 on a ZR1. Well, if you do the math and you compare a ZR1 to, say, a Z06, dollars per horsepower, this is way less money. This costs about $225 per horsepower if you look at the base price of the car and divide it by the horsepower. You know, if you look at Z06, it's actually about $232. So really the value's there. I know it's kind of hard to make a value story at this level, but it's kind of fun to think, you know what? You're buying horsepower here at a really good rate. This is an amazingly done engine compartment as well. I noticed the carbon fiber trim around, you know, and little giveaways as to what this car is. You know, these wires here going to the rear struts, that's actually for the magnetic ride, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But back here, what you're seeing is the carbon fiber trim. Of course, it does have this beautiful split window design, all the venting and ducting necessary. Down in the compartment here, this is all for the customer. It was all wrapped in plastic, but we've got all the track kits for brake cooling and auxiliary cooling that the customer can add to the car if he decides to drive it on the track. Beautifully finished under here. Once again, I recommend accessing from the side rather than trying to reach over this massive wing. Don't want to put a mark on it. We've just finished the ceramic on it. We don't want to mess it up. So come around to this side and let's talk a little bit more about some of the packages on this car. So being a coupe, of course, you get this classic split window design, which, you know what, how can you not love it? Just looks spectacular on this car. And you notice the ducting I talked about earlier to give a little more of that cold air into the engine intake. That's only available on the coupe. It actually doesn't come on the convertible. So if you like this look, this is the car you're going to be ordering. Looking at the overall packaging on this car though, a couple of things that the customer added that I think are really worthwhile talking about. Okay, we've got the big aero kit, but did some smart things like added E60 front end lift. That allows the front end of the car to lift up 2 inches to help protect all that carbon fiber up there from driveways and things like that. It's got the ZEK Performance Track Pack. Really outfitted the way it should be outfitted. I think that looking at this car with the purple, with the accents, and when we get inside, you'll see why the calipers are gray, because it matches the sky cool gray two-tone interior, which is absolutely incredible. I'm gonna get around the other side there and let's take a look and see what the entire of this car looks like. So as we're getting in, you look inside here and what you're seeing is the 3LZ trim, or if you're American, you're seeing 3LZ trim. So that means you get the beautiful suede top, just all the nice soft touch surfaces. And you'll notice that this is a two-tone sky cool gray and black interior. So to get the two-tone, you actually have to select option code TU7. It's amazing how many Corvette enthusiasts don't know that you can do this, and we can do it in multiple colors as well. In this case, we've got the sky cool gray, which some people actually almost call white. It's really, really light, along with the black. It's a really nice combination, especially offset with the sky cool gray stitching. Really offsets the car nicely. Notice the carbon fiber on the steering wheel and centering line. Everything matches. Everything's put together beautifully. And this coupe, unbelievable inside. Just how good it feels. What we're sitting in here also is the GT2 seats. You have a lot of different options here with seating in ZR1. I like the GT2 seats. I think they're a really good combination of having that performance support that you really want in the car, yet you know what, if you're gonna spend a few hours driving, you're not gonna get uncomfortable. This is really such a comfortable car to tour in. And if you can imagine touring with 1,000 horsepower, but it's a really great car to tour in with this seating package. Passenger is just as comfortable as the driver. Even though this is pretty driver-centric up here, it's a great vehicle to go out in. What's even more amazing about this thing is that, so here we are, we're sitting in a street legal vehicle that makes 1,064 horsepower, truly supercar status. This is not like a GT3 car on the racetrack. It's actually got more power, if you can believe it, than a GT3 car on the racetrack. But it's been finely tuned, and this particular piece here has got the track performance suspension, the track performance magnetic ride system. It has everything you have to go fast on the racetrack, but it's civilized enough to drive on the street. It's not obnoxious to drive at all. It does have the Cup 2 tires on it, so be careful of the weather a little bit, but wow, what a pleasure to drive. The one little surprise about this car is it's not quite as, well, obnoxious as you might think 1,000 horsepower should sound like when you're starting up. I'm theorizing here, but I believe it's because of the twin turbos partially muffle some of the sound, but when you start this up, you know what? It's pretty civilized. You can tell it's got power, but it's not completely obnoxious and it's not going to piss off your neighbors. So if you like what you're seeing and you like Corvettes, make sure you like and subscribe down below. And don't forget to come visit us at 386 Ontario Street in St. Catharines.